Touchdown Tampa Bay. You're listening to the Pewtercast.
Welcome to the Pewtercast. I am Brent Allen, your host, joined as always by my good friend Ren the Man Dax. Ren, another week, almost in the books.
Yes, almost in the books. Yes. You know, when you text me about 20 minutes ago and you're like, it's sort of not really Friday right now.
Right. It didn't even occur to me until I started setting up for the show tonight.
It occurred to me about 8 o'clock.
This evening?
Yeah. There's going to be another injury report.
Right.
But since it's only going to be one person and we already know they're not going to play.
Right.
And I don't want to do this Saturday.
After I texted you, I went, oh, wait, but tomorrow's Halloween, and then I'm going to be out, and then there's this, and yeah. So here we are. Normally we say it's at the end of the week. Normally we say, hey, this is our show where we come in and we talk about all the stuff that has happened because the work week is done.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight we'll just say almost. But there's quite a bit to talk about once again this week.
It is a full lid, but
yeah. A full lid. Yeah, I get that reference this time.
Yeah, well, because I told you what it was.
I get that reference this time. Full lid, as he says.
Yes, there's a full lid, but it's I'm guaranteeing a full lid is what I'm doing. Saying there will be no more news coming out of One Buck tomorrow.
There you go.
I'm staking my reputation as a stay-at-home podcaster, person who's never in the building, has no credentials.
Professional podcaster who gets all his information the way everyone else does.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Well, there you go.
I'm putting that on the line. It's a full lid.
There you go. Well, we will definitely get into all of that. For those of you guys who are new, hello and welcome to the show. This is the show where basically we just cover everything that is going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week in one fell sweep. And we're going to do that by talking about all the roster moves that have happened this week and keeping up with the team that way. We'll talk about the headlines that have come out. We'll talk about the injury report so far. And then we'll be taking a look towards the game here of the New York Giants. And we'll talk about things we're maybe looking forward to seeing in this game. We'll also do predictive MVPs. But Ren, before we get to all of that,
yes, a
quick word from mybookie.ag. Now, if anybody out there listened to the last show and you guys went to mybookie.ag, you put down a prop bet to see if mybookie was going to pull their ad from the Pewtercast, you lost because they're still here with us.
Yeah, I guess we got to try harder.
Between the NFL, college ball, and Major League Baseball playoffs. Oh, wait. It says, please edit as needed. Playoffs are done in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
But you know what's still up is soccer or whatever sport it is that the Rowdies play, because they're in the championship now as well too, right?
They are.
Yeah, so that sport as well. There is no shortage of games to watch, and with thousands of lines available on all your favorite sports events, you can turn game day into payday.
That is so clever. How much do you think people actually get paid to write this ad?
A lot.
That everyone who listens to Buccaneers podcasts has heard about 1,000 times by now.
Right. A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
You could actually probably go put a prop bet on how much they get paid.
Ooh, or at least suggest it.
Yeah. There you go. So listen, guys, here's the deal.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna skip these next two paragraphs. Yeah, what?
MyBookie AG. Who exactly is responsible for this tremendously long and, quite frankly, irritating ad that you have now sold to every podcast that's out there?
I really like the turn your game day into payday. That's a great marketing line. I get that one. So here's the deal, guys. In all honesty.
Okay.
If you would, what MyBookie is doing, you guys all know. You've heard the ad everywhere. As Ren,
it's a great deal.
It's a good deal. They will take your first deposit up to $1,000 and they'll double it. You could get $2,000 to start off gambling at MyBookie. And here's how you do it. Go use our promo code. Don't use anybody else's. Use ours.
Yeah.
Overtime. That is the group that we belong to. Use Overtime and claim that deposit match dollar for dollar. It's going to give you a little extra help on your head start to a
payday
winning season.
Winning.
Apparently, you haven't heard it enough, Ren.
I tuned that out like 3 months ago.
So use promo code Overtime. Claim that bonus when you make that first deposit there at mybookie.ag. And we really, truly, from the bottom of our hearts, despite the fun that we have with them,
yes,
would like to thank MyBookie for sponsoring this week's show. Being one of the sponsors of this week's show.
Yes,
at the Pewtercast.
I agree. Just write more than one ad.
Yes, I like it.
Write more than one.
I like it.
I mean, that couldn't really took more than 10 minutes.
Ren, I got something else we're gonna do. We haven't read a whole lot of emails this week or this year. But we got an email this week that I always say we could use it on a future episode of the Pewtercast.
Right.
For those of you guys who have been out there, I'm sorry, before I even do that, quick hello to everybody who is joining us live out there on YouTube or Twitter or Periscope or the Pewtercast.live or Facebook or wherever you're listening to the show, or to anybody who is catching the podcast of this later or watching the video of this later. Hello to you guys as well too. You guys are definitely welcome here, and lots of fun stuff. Anyway, Ren, back to what I was saying.
Okay.
This year we're trying something new.
Yes.
The midweek, off the wall, zany, has nothing to do with anything else that we're talking about kind of show. And this past week,
that far with it.
Well, yeah,
it's not an information show. It's not an information driven show. It's not going to talk about any. We're not going to try to make a wacky comment or a wacky theory and go like 45 half hour, an hour on it. Like we're not going to do that. And with the vast amount of Buccaneers podcasts that are doing a vast amount of shows during the week.
Well, it's like the MyBookie ad, Ren. Quite frankly, the MyBookie ad is the same thing everywhere you go. And for as many Bucs podcasters there, and high five to all of our friends who are Bucs podcasters, and a lot of you guys this year are doing multiple week shows.
Yeah,
which cool for you. Great.
Just too much.
We're all doing the same thing though.
Yeah.
It's just everybody's doing the same thing, right? Like everybody's got the behind enemy lines or the peeking over the fence or looking at the game preview, getting you ready for the game. We've all got the post-game show wrap up. We don't do it, but there's a couple of people out there that do game film reviews, and there's whatever shows that Fan Fridays or whatever they do, and those are all great. Our thought was just, hey, let's do something different. Let's bring something else. Let's
do the shows we used to do when we went 3.5 hours.
Right. Like that last segment.
Yeah.
Probably nobody really listened to by that time. But anyway, so we got this email and we've had lots of feedback over the week. This week, if anybody missed it, we talked about alter egos, Buccaneer alter egos, like if they were superheroes or cartoon characters or people from history or something of that nature. Ren even put them in a television show. Or put them to a television show, I guess.
Carlton Davis, Firefly.
There you go. Still have not yet watched that show. I need to go do that.
Yeah, it's only been 13 years.
We encourage, right? We encourage people to write in and give us what their takes were on people's alter egos, and we've actually received several responses, several different emails. But we do have this one from our friend Chris, who says, I think this encapsulates nicely what probably a lot of people are feeling when they listen and go, why are they talking about this?
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with anything going on. And so I like it. Says, hey, Britt and Ren, let me start off by saying about 20 minutes into your Alter Egos podcast, I said that this was the worst episode I've ever listened to. And I've been a long-time listener of your show.
I felt the same way.
I was like, they're not covering anything. This has nothing to do about the actual news and blah, 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 and all that stuff you guys already know. But I couldn't stop listening.
That's right. You know why? Because it's entertainment.
That's it right
and that's
there.
What Wednesday shows this year. It's what it's going to be about.
For us. Exactly. He just says it got better and better as the show went on, and I was really digging it. And it helps that I was a fan of all those different things that we used: Harry Potter and Hanna-Barbera and Disney and even Hamilton, he says. And then he goes on and gives us all. I won't read the rest of it, but I think that
what's his best comp? Give me one that you found pretty clever.
Hold on. I did like this. He said, for Tom Brady, Captain America, for all the points that Brent said, and Ren, that is America's ass, is what he said.
Of course, that's the one you pick. Okay.
Yeah. No, I did like this one.
Really, Tom Brady, Captain America, that's gotta be the most unimagined. That's why I didn't pick Tom Brady.
I understand. He actually, I really liked this one. He said, JPP is Logan, aka Wolverine, but not Wolverine, like old guy Logan.
Okay.
Because he used Logan instead of Wolverine because he's on the back nine of his career, but he still has all those superpowers and can still turn it up when he needs to, but he's just old.
Right.
So I like that one a lot.
I'm not as good as I once was, but I can be as good as I ever was one more time.
Yeah, I like this one too. He said Antoine Winfield Jr. was Spider-Man, which I like that. Spider-Man from the MCU. He's young, he's hungry, he's got all the brains and the athleticism, and it seems like he could be the greatest just given a little bit of time.
It's a Miles Morales version, of course.
He says MCU, which would be Tom Holland version. And then actually I did personally, I said I wasn't going to read it. Here I am. It's okay. He said Donovan Smith, the King of England from Hamilton. He's a joke, but you need him in the show. He's a complete. I like it.
That's one of my favorite characters. I thought he did because I've only seen Hamilton once, and I saw it, when Disney Plus did it.
Yeah.
And it was like it was the original cast on Broadway way back when. And I actually know that actor from
Frozen,
Mind Game.
Oh, okay.
Mindhunter.
Yeah. Jonathan Groff.
Yeah. And I thought he did great, except for that one time he spit all over himself. Just left it there. Yeah.
Apparently he did that every show.
Oh, did he?
That's just that was just that's just what happens to him when he sings. So he also did the voice of Kristoff in Frozen. So
don't care.
So anyway, thank you, Chris, for sending that in, and to everybody who's been back, listening to those episodes. Thanks for listening and thanks for playing along. And if you guys don't get it, if it's not your bag, Ren and I get it. We really do. So
yeah, but you'll be back.
Yeah.
You got it. Good.
I did it. I got it. I got it. I see what you did there. I caught that reference.
Are we going to explain it to anybody?
No. Okay. Those who get it, and those who don't will be just like, what the hell are they talking about?
It's a song the King of England sings in Hamilton.
He does. It's a great song.
It is.
It's a great song. All right.
Every time his little theme music, it's I recognize it. I'm like, I know that it's not exact, but it's the theme music, the opening to Community.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Another show that I've not yet watched.
Really?
Yeah,
that's worth it. It's no Parks and Rec or Office, but it's good.
I'm trying to get through Parks and Rec right now, and I know you've said like it's like your favorite sitcom ever or something like that.
It's the very best sitcom ever that's ever made.
Yeah, I need to keep going back to it. Anyway, hey, let's get back. Let's talk about the Buccaneers. What do you say?
Sure. It's not Wednesday, is it?
No, this one we actually are going to talk about Buccaneers news and stuff related to the ball games and everything like that. All right, we always start at top with roster moves.
Yes.
Not a ton that's happened this week.
Good.
We covered it quite a bit, but officially the Buccaneers have now signed Antonio Brown.
Right.
And to give him a spot on the roster, they waived outside linebacker Quentin Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Then they re-signed him immediately to the practice squad, releasing a guy named Tegray Scales from the practice squad to clear a way for Quentin Bell. Now, Remind me, Quentin Bell's a guy that's been around.
He's been
from
here
training camp, right?
Yeah. I always get him and the inside linebacker mixed up the schools they went to.
Okay.
One of them's from like William and Mary, and one of them's they're both small school guys. Or maybe one's from Temple. I don't know. But anyway, these a bit like who's the inside linebacker? The one that I like. Chappie? No.
Chappie? Maybe.
It's not Chappie. It's the other guy. Maybe they're both outside linebackers. Anyway, this would be helpful information as a podcaster. It's eccentric to the Buccaneers. But anyway, he's been here the whole time.
Yeah.
And he was one of the guys that, we were going, well, like he might have to play this year if JPP or Nelson or
Shaq.
Thank you. get hurt, this might be somebody, that they're looking at. And he's, just he's kind of like JPP. Well, I guess he's more Shaq, but speed, bend, has a nice arm bar, has a couple of moves, but nothing great. But they like him. They got to develop him because, with the salary cap next year, like there might be no one left on that defensive line.
Right.
Like no one. It'll be Vita Vea and who? Like they all can go. They're not all gonna go, but you can make a case for that every other person is not going to be signed because of the salary cap.
One of the places that you irritated me absolutely the most was in a show that we did, probably this last show, the last post-game call-in show, because you were absolutely right. And I was like, because I'm going, name me another top need for the draft other than left tackle. That's got to be our top need. And you're like, what about defensive line when they all are gone? And I went, you're like, we have this one under contract already. We've got to figure all these guys out. And I went, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Crap. That's a good point. Because I want it to be to left tackle. Like I want left tackle to be the number one need. That way we can focus on it, get that fixed, and move on. But there may be some other pressing needs that we need to figure out before that. So,
right. But again, it doesn't look good for Donovan Smith because he's making $14 million. It's not guaranteed.
Right.
He's either going to need to massively restructure, or they'll find somebody else, either through the draft or free agency. Yeah. Or maybe they develop them. Maybe they switch Tristan over and Haig takes over, or they find another right tackle through the draft or through free agency. Like that by no means. Am I saying that Donovan Smith is here no matter what? I'm just saying that, if like taking a tackle in the first round is not the only option on the table.
Right.
Because the defensive line could possibly have no starters.
And that's there's certainly an issue there. So we will monitor that as we get into the offseason, especially. But for now, that spot is set. We did have one more roster move that happened this week. The Buccaneers activated offensive guard John Malchon from the injured reserve list. Now, this was the guy with the mustache, right?
Mr. Pringle.
The super cool mustache that everybody should go look at his picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they have not made a corresponding remove for him just yet. They could potentially release him, as we've seen them do so often when they bring somebody back who's that far down in the depth chart. But in order to keep him, they'd have to release somebody else. I don't know who else they would release at this point.
Sheil Grayson.
Oh yeah, get rid of him. Doink. And then just the weekly perfunctory thing. Buccaneers once again placed the exact same two people on the protected list. Greg Joseph, the kicker, the backup kicker, and then defensive lineman Jeremiah Ledbetter both went on the protected list. Still, once again, only utilizing two of those spots as opposed to all four.
Yeah, I thought Ledbetter might have been off the list this year or this week because McClendon played so well.
Oh, I see.
I was thinking last week, like, hey, this McClendon might not work out. Let's see what we got. But I guess, maybe since Ledbetter has some playing time now and he's put some actual game tape out there, maybe they're just, like, well, we're just going to protect you for the rest of the year because I don't know.
Ledbetter is a viable option as far as depth goes.
Yeah.
Like emergency break glass, we can bring him in because Ledbetter, he does have NFL playing experience. He also played in the AAF, and didn't he go to the XFL as well and had some playing experience there? I don't know. I know he definitely did AAF.
But I don't think so. He was a draft.
He was with Apollo.
He was a draft pick.
Ledbetter?
Yeah.
Pretty sure he went to the AAF. Could be wrong. But either way, my point being, the man's got some experience. Like if you got to pull somebody up, he is the guy to do that. So I could really see why they want to kind of put him in that bubble with Greg Joseph, should something happen.
Plus everything we talked about, like possibly there's going to be no defensive line, starters left, and they did draft him, and he's been in Bowles' scheme now for 2 years. So, I wouldn't lose sleep if it's not like when Motley got picked up, Pernell Motley. I was like, oh no, if Ledbetter gets taken, I'll be like, okay.
Well, with that, Ren, why don't we go ahead and move on to our headlines of the week? Got quite a few here to go through. A couple of feel good ones first, just to kick it off. Tom Brady is named the very first Buccaneer ever to win Offensive Player of the Month.
It's not true.
That's not true. I've seen that over and over and over again over the course of the week. He's the first offensive player to be named, or the first Buccaneer to be named Offensive Player of the Month.
Not true.
All right. Who else was it?
Vinny Testaverde.
Was he?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Scott Smith went and like corrected everybody. Like
did
Stroud put it out. I don't know if Greg did, but I saw Peter Report put it out. They even said it on their pod. The radio station put it out, and Scott Smith was like, wait a second, guys.
Vinny Testaverde did it. All right. Well, there you go. So Scott Smith coming through correcting us, but regardless, Brady still gets the okay. Then he was what, the second player ever, Buccaneer ever,
to
win Offensive Player of the Month.
And I think like it's his 17th time he's done it.
Oh, really?
Or something stupid. Like he's almost 3 years of NFL games, because it takes 4 games to win the month.
Okay.
So like he, for his career, he's won like 3 years worth. So he's been so think about it, like he's been the NFL Offensive Player of the Month since 2018, and no one else has won it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is definitely a lot.
Well, then you see him play, and you're like, oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah. Man, I thought he was I thought he lost something this year.
I didn't.
Wasn't that a thing?
I mean, they talked about it. Yeah. I mean, and the only narrative left. Okay, he's learned the offense. He can gel with his teammates. He hasn't lost any mustard. The offensive line isn't going to get him killed. Mm-hmm. The only thing left is you're going to hear from the naysayers is, can he hold up for the rest of the year and make it to the playoffs? You know what I mean? Like, can his arm not be dead or lose velocity and all that kind of stuff? That's the only thing left, because all the other, points that people brought up, which some of them were, like valid concerns. Some of them were like, you're stupid, right? It's like going, well, LeBron James is going to the Lakers. Do you think he'll pick up their offense? Like, what?
Right.
Like, what? Right. Yeah, I think so.
You know what my favorite one was, and by favorite, I mean most irritating one, was whose offense do you think we're going to run? Are we going to run BA's offense, or are we going to run Tom Brady's offense? Whose offense do you think we're going to run?
You can't run BA's offense.
Okay.
That's not what Tom liked to do, except when he has weapons. Then he did it a lot. But he hasn't had them for like 7 years, so that's not what he likes to do. He throws the backs all the time. He throws the guys open.
Right.
All the time.
Right.
Right on the money.
Yeah. Listen, I would put money. Hey, you go over to mybookie.ag, make a prop bet. Tom Brady's arm's going to be just fine through the rest of the season and through the playoffs, all the way through. Because you know why, Ren?
Because
you know where we're going? I won't do it just for you. All right. Well, not quite matching Tom Brady, but also getting a little bit of an honor this week. Devin White was named NFL Defensive Player of the Week, which didn't last year. He won that like 2 or 3 times in a row, and then got Defensive Player of the Month twice in a row at the end of last year as the rookie. But regardless, Devin White his name seems to be coming up as Defensive Player of the Week quite a bit here lately as well. So congratulations, Devin White and Tom Brady. Welcome to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, how good do you think Devin White's going to be? He had 3 sacks.
Yeah.
Against Las Vegas. 3. Like, that's a season worth of sacks for an interior linebacker. He's just getting so. Remember when I talked about like Devin White needs to get better in the rush. He needs to learn that swim move, or he needs to like unpacks, like needs to learn some new tools, because he's really good and he could really wreak havoc. Well, what he's decided to do is just take on the back like halfway, and just the part that hits the back just kind of gives way and he's so fast, so he's just running his front torso is just kind of running sideways at full speed by him, and the back just kind of glances off, and he's by him. Like, that's what he's done. He doesn't have to, like, do a spin, doesn't have to do a spike or an arm bar, but man, can he rush the passer. And he's so fast. He's so fast, it's stupid. Like, you don't know who it is, but you only know who it is because he's moving so fast.
Right. Here's what made me hesitate when you asked that question.
Sure.
Because I was going, he's really good right now. Is this something he can maintain? And as you continue to talk, and I kind of rolled that around in my head a little bit, there is nothing about Devin White that strikes me as this kid is going to peak now and his just career is going to go downhill, or that he's having like,
he's not having a magical year.
Exactly. Yeah. There's nothing about him that strikes me as he's just having like a weird year.
He's not playing above his station.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, assuming he stays healthy, knock on wood, I mean, my God, this guy could be amazing. Like, absolutely shut down amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd actually prove it. So
make everyone else believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you remember all those people who said you don't draft an inside linebacker at number 5?
I remember one. He works for Joe Bucs fan, and his name was Lee. Remember
he also promised to turn in his credentials if the Bucs did it, and
he did. So now he's dumb and a liar. Drunk and stupid is no good way to go through life, son.
All right. Well, moving on from those two guys,
by the way.
I did catch that one actually.
Okay.
Moving on from that, other cool news. Tristan Wirfs made a little bit of headlines this week. According to PFF grading out through 7 weeks, he is the top O lineman taken from this year's draft.
Yeah. Yep.
Top of all the other guys, they graded him out the highest through 7 weeks.
It's tackles, top graded tackle. Yeah. And we all know that a lot of them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I have OT, not OL. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, of all the guys that we were worrying over, Wirfs, and it's not like he's had an off week. He's kind of gone through a murderer's row. Like, he completely shut down Brian Burns. And if you watch the Thursday night game, Brian Burns was all over the place. He was Matt Ryan's face all night long. And, Atlanta likes to brag. We have 5 first-round draft picks across the front of the offensive line.
Right.
And they do. And, Brian Burns, like, they had no answer for him. And then, of course, Khalil Mack and Bosa and who's your favorite player from New Orleans?
Cam Jordan.
Ooh, I
want to punch that guy in the face. Not in real life, because he'd probably kick my ass. But I mean, my God.
Would it be worth it?
I want to see Vita Vea punch him in the face. That's what I want to do.
Vita, punch a guy in the face for me.
Vita, take care of my light work, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Vita V.
Would you rather have to be a Saints fan and do a Saints podcast for a year?
Okay.
Or have to apologize to Cam Jordan to his face about all the things you've said about him, and tell him
the podcast. I'll do the podcast for a whole year. No qualms about that.
Become a Saints fan for a whole year.
I will
apologize to a Saints player.
Not gonna do it. No, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
All right.
All right. Hey, let's talk about a little.
But good job by Wirfs, ranked number 1.
Absolutely, good job by Wirfs. Hey, let's talk about a little surprising news this week. Here we are, 8 weeks into the NFL season, and we're just now finding out. Ren, I don't know if you heard about this or read about it. Ali Marpet apparently had surgery to repair a torn hip labrum this past off season.
Yeah.
And BA credits that as part of why he's playing so well this year.
Yeah. So that means he had it last year and was injured.
Right.
And, no one said it. I don't think I even I said it. not that means anything, but usually I'm quick to, like, I don't
Uh-huh.
care who you are. Like, you're not playing as well as you used to. Like, I didn't even comment on Allie. He's kind of been like the sacred cow around here. Like,
Yeah.
like when he does something wrong, oh, that's okay. But like last year might have been his worst year.
No,
Not that it was terrible.
Yes, there it is, right there.
Yeah,
He had just a kind of a ho hum year last year. Like it wasn't bad, it just wasn't great. And yeah.
And I like how that question came about, where it was Greg Allman. He asked him about it, how Allie's playing and that type of deal. And can you talk a little bit about Allie and how he's playing this year? And Bruce goes, yeah, I think that that procedure he had in the offseason really helped. And no one knew what the hell. Yeah. And Greg played it so well. He's like, yeah, what was that procedure again? Like, can you remind me what that was again, Bruce?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Hip labrum. Yeah, that's right. Hip labrum. And like Twitter, like, Peter Report, Stroud, Joey Knight, who is now on the Bucs beat. I don't know what happened to Edward, or he still might be there. Eduardo.
Wait, Joey Knight, isn't that the kid from New Kids on the Block?
Oh my God. Why do you do this to me? Or anyone, for that matter.
Is he hanging tough?
Nope. He's been covering the Bulls for the Tampa Bay Times for 7 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now he started like just tweeting out Bucs presser quotes like yesterday. And I was like, that's weird. And then he did it again today, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's filling in or whatever. But then after the presser, he's like, all right, everybody, I'll come clean. Like, I'm now on the Bucs Beat Reporter but he didn't mention Eduardo Encina at all.
Right.
He just talked about Stroud.
I mean, for the record, Eddie Encina's Twitter accounts with tweets as soon as yesterday still lists him as also being on the Bucs beat.
Yeah, I went and looked.
And he's retweeting stuff about the Bucs as of at least yesterday.
Yeah, he did, but I didn't tweet anything out today. And there was press conferences. Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, what was I saying? Why did I say Joey Knight?
Because he was the guy who was.
Because everyone, like, Greg's like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, thanks. And then Peter Report, Stroud, Joey Knight, Greg, Joe Bucs fan. Everyone's like, hey, everybody, Allie had a labrum hip surgery during the offseason.
Wait. You mean all the media reports just sent out the exact same thing? Nobody came up with something more creative to.
It's like a Wednesday podcast on every other Buccaneers podcast.
Right.
That's what we're just going to call it from now on. When you see like the same thing reported over and over, just call it Wednesday.
Podcast.
We'll call it Wednesday.
There you go. I like it.
Or WP.
So, hey, let's talk about the Super Bowl for a minute. Super Bowl, which is being played here in Ray J. Woohoo! Apparently, they are planning to limit capacity for the Super Bowl to about 15,000 fans.
I'm stunned.
About what they're doing right now.
I'm stunned.
Are you?
I am.
I can tell you're shocked.
I am.
I mean, your jaw is on the floor. For people who can't see it, he looks like a snake who's about to eat an egg. His jaw is that far away from his upper jaw.
None of that's true.
No.
But I do look like a snake, but not because of my jaw. Yeah, I went on record. I said they'll put everybody in Orlando and lock them up in a bunch of hotels, and like they're gonna have it's gonna be a full stadium come hell or high water. And I kind of feel like they're still gonna happen, but so this is sort of the plan right now. But who knows? I mean, they were talking about this on Stroud Sports Day Tampa Bay. It's like, can you host a Super Bowl and lose money? Because you're about to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
You're about to watch it happen. And not only that, like, it was only 15,000 people. Like, I signed up to be a volunteer for the Super Bowl ambassador, and I don't think I want to go. I don't think I want to do it now. I don't. If I'm just going to be standing around with my finger up my nose all day because, they don't get the crowd they expect, then what am I doing there? Like, I'll find the polo / t-shirt at a thrift store a couple of weeks after. Like, I'll find it. I can do that. I'll find it on eBay for like $1. Like,
would you actually go like purposely looking for those?
no.
Bren, would you every time a coach gets fired now, would you be hunting down the Goodwills to see if you can catch some of their old clothes?
Only if they're cutter size, because BA is not going to fit me. Not even close.
Right.
Yeah. No. I mean,
Now,
I
fair,
think it would be cool to have, and it doesn't really matter it's from a coach. What I think is cool is to actually have a NFL team issued piece of Buck gear.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
You know,
like stuff you can't pick up from fanatics.com or something like that.
And even they have those type of things. Like, these are the exact same hats they wear on the sidelines. Okay. Or, this is the same hoodie that this is but they don't have every single piece that's officially given to the team. And I would like, I wouldn't mind having one of those. And if I had my choice, I would like to have one that wasn't available to the public.
There you go. That's cool.
Just a little trophy, Bring it out on game day. Show everyone that I'm the best fan, because I have the rarest gear.
There you go. Hey, let's talk about well, to be fair, I want to just clarify this before we move on.
Sure.
The reports right now all say, and I checked it out, and I can't say all because I can't say I saw every single one of them, but all the ones that I saw said that the NFL is preparing for 13 to 15,000 fans. That doesn't mean it's going to be about 15,000 fans. That just means, like, if you remember back in the summer, they were like, no, we're planning on a full Super Bowl and full this and full that. And now they're like, yeah, we're at least preparing for that, that it could be that. So I tend to think, just kind of looking at how things are going, that will probably be at about 15,000 capacity.
I don't. It's going to be full.
I don't think so.
I think they release it because, here's
bet. My bookie will do it.
I can do it. I can't wait till we have to talk about those guys anymore. What? Keep your $7. I think it's because the way where the second spike's happening, quote unquote. I think it's just good PR for them to get it out now before they get asked the question, get out in front of it. Oh, we're planning on 13, 15,000. We're also planning on 110, but yeah. You know what I mean?
My God, 110,000 people in Ray J. Oof.
Yeah, it's twice its capacity. Ain't happening.
Right.
I think it's 58. It's the capacity.
Right. Wait, let's talk. One more piece, and then I want to start talking about the news that really is going to affect the game coming up here. Sure. AB's contract, Antonio Brown, his contract has finally been revealed.
Yes.
For a base salary. Now I've got all the details here, so we can dive into it as much or as little as we want. But it's a base salary of $1 million with incentives that could get it up to $2.5 million. And in order to cash in on that extra 100 or 1.5 million, the Bucs have to make the playoffs.
Yes.
This is an amazing contract for a guy of Antonio Brown's talent, despite everything else. For $1 million.
Yeah. I think that, they got like Shady and Fournette and Antonio Brown, and I think they're paying them a total of less than $5 million. No, I'm sorry. It's Rosen.
Right.
Fournette and Brown. And they're paying them less than $4 million. Yeah. Yeah, $5 million. Yeah. It's and I mean, we've talked about it. It's a prove it. It's can you play nice with an NFL franchise? That's all it is. Yeah. And he doesn't care about the money. What he's caring about is showing everybody that he can play nice, so he can go somewhere else or possibly here. I mean, he's not going to cash in next year either because there's no money.
Right.
So he might be back next year. As long as he plays nice, or he screws up and he might get one more chance with somebody, somebody like week 10 who's they think they got a Super Bowl team, but they just need a little bit of help, and they'll be like that girl, I'll change him. I know, I'll get through to him.
Well, let's talk about some of these incentives real quick. Let's just play. Do you think he's going to do it or not?
Sure.
Or is it likely or not? All right.
Sure.
He can get up to $250,000 in per game active bonuses.
Yes.
That's going to equate to about $40,000 per game. That, like, assuming that's over the 8 games that are left in the season, he'll be eligible to play. That's about $40,000 a game if he's active on the 48 active roster. Do you think he's going to hit those or not?
He'll get every single one unless he's injured.
I agree. Unless he's injured, you said.
Yes.
I agree. All right. Other incentives. Now, these are the qualifier here is that they must make the playoffs. $250,000 if he gets 45 plus catches.
No.
Okay. Let's take the over or under. So you say the under.
Under. Okay. Sorry.
All right. All right. $250,000 if he gets 650 receiving yards.
Over.
$250,000 if he gets 6 plus touchdowns.
Under.
And then $750,000 if he wins the Super Bowl or the Bucs win the Super Bowl.
I'll have to push. What's happening?
There you go. I like it. Yeah. Those are some. Yeah, I don't know.
They're not astronomical numbers, but on this team, they are.
Right.
Getting 45 catches in this offense, if everyone's healthy, that's hard. It's hard just to get enough balls thrown your way, let alone catch them. Now, Antonio Brown is one of the best ever at creating after the catch and getting yak. So that's why I went over on the yardage. But if he doesn't punch it,
far less than 45 catches, you're saying.
Yeah. But if he doesn't punch it in, like go for the touchdown, I don't think he's going to be a goal line
threat.
A goal line guy, a red zone guy, because of Gronk and because of Mike, especially. Sneak Cam Braid a little bit in there, but you've seen he likes to go to Godwin, and he's gone to Tyler Johnson twice.
Right. And then you also have Rojo and those guys punching it in there at the goal line as well. Yeah.
Rojo is an elite running back in getting the ball across the goal line. He rarely gets stopped. Seriously, he does. Going back to last year, and I'm talking like 5-6 yards out. He scores almost every single time.
Yeah. All right, let's move. Let's start talking about some stuff as we look towards this game, this coming week, and actually even a little bit beyond this game. BA has named Leonard Fournette, as the new nickelback, basically replacing Shady McCoy on the obvious passing downs.
Yeah,
he's a bit of a promotion. That's not a surprise to me. This was the when is it going to happen, not if it's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel a little bad for Shady McCoy because I think he's kind of got a raw deal. The few times he has got the ball, I kind of felt like Peyton Barber last year. Like he gets the ball and somebody's right in his face.
Right.
And you get to see him going, come on, like I'm fighting for play. I'm fighting for I'm fighting for playing time, and no one's helping me. But like Leonard Fournette being the 2-minute back, it's what it is. He's 2 minutes and less. Obvious passing situation. So he's a third down back in 2 minutes or less, going to the half and at the end of the game. But Rojo's still the 4-minute back. So when they run the 4-minute offense, it's still Rojo. So it's just like a lot of people thought it was going to be. It's Rojo can't catch, Leonard Fournette can, and he's James White.
I like it. All right, moving on. Another player. This guy actually came up in 2 separate headlines, 2 separate things, but I'm going to kind of smash them here. Scott Smith of Buccaneers.com reports that the Buccaneers are going to try to get Mike Edwards more involved in the game.
Right.
I don't know that any coach said we're going to try to get him more involved in the game as much as he's just kind of going off of how they were talking about him this week.
That's what BA said.
BA said that they're going to try to get him more involved in the game.
Someone asked about Mike Edwards, and he's only played 65 plays, and he has 2 picks, and he has another one that he actually picked off that was called back. When he has a fumble recovery, and he has a forced fumble, and he has a pass, and he has 2 or 3 pass breakups. If you take all those and look at me, he's a playmaker, and Bruce is he's when he's out there, he makes plays. You got to get him on the field.
So to what you were just saying there, let me go ahead and say the other half of this. So John Ledyard over at pewterreport.com says that in 65 snaps, and he's gone and watched all 65 of these snaps and looked at them. He says Mike Edwards has been the best safety in the entire NFL.
Well, yeah, but it's also a very small sample size, and if you play well in that small samples, that's where analytics kind of bite you in the butt. Like if he plays another 65 plays, he's going to have 3 more interceptions and another forced fumble and another fumble recovery and like 3 more pass breakups. Probably not.
Right. Because 65 snaps is a game.
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
defensive game.
Yeah, Shaq Barrett had 9 sacks after 5 games last year.
Right.
How
many does he have this year?
How many do you have after that? Exactly. So I believe it. He's had it, he's played terrific, but that was also, and I don't think it's the same case, but who was a linebacker that I used to love? Changes every time he came in. He never got a chance, but he changed it. Adarius Glanton. I said, all he does is make plays, and he never got to play.
Right.
But he'd play like 5-6 plays a game, but have like 4 tackles, and it's like, why isn't this guy playing? I don't think it's the same situation, but it's sort of the same circumstance where, just because a guy plays well in a very small sample size doesn't mean you can't, count on that continuing. But after BA said it, he's earned his chance to play more.
Right.
And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I feel like we've had this conversation, but, and if we have, just humor me and have it with me again.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you rather have out there? An Antoine Winfield and Mike Edwards, or an Antoine Winfield and Jordan Whitehead? Those are the sounds of Ren thinking out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I'm bringing the other layer into it, which is it time? And I think this is all. Are we going to talk about SMB? Is he in the headline?
No, he is not.
Because there was one question, another Ledyard question, where basically he really nicely said, "What's up with Sean Murphy Bunting?" And Bowles said that we're going to have him focus on one position. There might be a little too much on his plate.
Okay.
Which means to me is there's two things that can possibly happen. One, he stays outside and somebody else plays nickel,
right?
Who would have to be Winfield.
Mm-hmm.
Or Dean starts on the outside and he becomes nickel only, which is way more plausible because Dean's playing like Mike Edwards, lights out with a bigger sample size. So is Carlton Davis. Mm-hmm. So that seems to be the way it's going. To answer your question, I would like it to be Dean and Davis start, and in the back be Winfield and Edwards, but they're like the same player. They're not really box safeties.
Right.
Now Winfield can do it probably better than Edwards. But I right now, and I feel it's unfair. But if you're going to get your best 11 out there, move Winfield to box, move Winfield to corner. And I want to see if he can prove it, Can he do it? It's not like SMB's playing terrible. He's playing very average, but he looks really crappy on this defense because everyone else is playing phenomenal. Everyone else is playing phenomenal, except for maybe Jordan Whitehead. But everyone else is playing phenomenal, they're winning awards, they're getting sacks, they're getting pressure. No matter what you say,
records in the league.
They're holding records. No matter what you say about defensive line, about getting pressure or not getting pressure, JPP's like 5th in the league in sacks.
Yeah, he has 5.5 sacks through however many games, 7 games. Yeah.
So I mean, and the run defense is still awesome, still leading the league. Mm-hmm. So the defensive line is doing their job, and their pressure rate's really high, and they're on pace to break the Buccaneers' all-time sack record. So you can't say they're not doing their job, and we know what's going on in the backfield and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to get your best 11, I might want to put Winfield in slot and then put Edwards and Whitehead back there.
Right.
But I think it's since I haven't seen Winfield play, I'm kind of splitting hairs. Right. So to answer your question, I want it to be Winfield Edwards, and one of them's just going to have to learn to be able to play the box and set the edge in the run game as well as Whitehead does.
I hear you. Yeah. I want it to be Winfield and Edwards, right?
Right.
But I think I have the same problem that you just sort of brought up. Like, they're pretty much the same guy, so it's hard to put them both out there, I guess, in that situation. Like, you need the variety, right? I like your answer of having them learn.
Yeah. I mean, I think Winfield can play the box better than Edwards can, and I think he can do it. But I think what he does best is that's not what he does best. Exactly. That's not what he does best. Yeah. He does best playing center field, running sideline to sideline, single high safety. That's what he does best.
Right.
So
it's also what Mike Edwards does best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, it's just, it problem would be solved if Edwards could tackle or Whitehead could cover. We'd be good. Not like we're not good anyway. I mean, we got honestly, we have the best. We have the best team in the league in the NFC.
These problems so much more fun to discuss than the problems we've had in the last 4 years that we've been doing this podcast.
So, how do we stop the 8 turnovers we had last week?
Right. Exactly.
Whose fault is it?
All right. Well, Ren, we have come to. I don't want to say it's necessarily the big news, but it's the C word. The C word has finally landed at one Buccaneer place. The Buccaneers have had their first COVID scare of the 2020 season. An equipment staffer has tested positive. Now, also, the Giants had a COVID scare this week. One of their players, much like what happened with the Raiders last week, tested positive. They sent a whole bunch of people home.
Offensive linemen.
All offensive linemen. We didn't have to send anybody else home. At least it wasn't reported that we had to send
one
anybody
other person who was in contact.
Was it one?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but it was like nobody in football operations. Like, it's not going to affect the players or the game or anything like that.
Right. It's, I think it was an equipment person, like maybe logistics person.
Yeah.
Who's not an office person, but they're not a coach. So, they're sort of in between. And the only other person that, through contact tracing that might possibly have, they sent home as well. So no one else is, hopefully they got it early and nipped it in the butt. And as of, I saw on Twitter right before we got on the show, or maybe a couple hours, everyone's back in the building for the Giants.
Yes. And that was going to be the next thing I said is they had one person who tested positive. They sent a whole bunch of people home, including the whole offensive line. All of those other people, it was 8 players and 2 coaches. Those extra 10 people all came back testing negative. So they're back in the building as of today. So that's just 2 days later. They're all back in the building. So they are fully expecting this Tampa Bay Giants game to go forward and to go forward on time on Monday, with no talk yet of potentially moving the game like the Raiders game moved last week.
All right.
So hopefully we don't move, but that is definitely something to be keeping tabs on. And that's going to be sort of a day-to-day, hour-by-hour thing if anything changes, but no expectations for that to move. Ren, they wouldn't do this, would they? Or you don't think? They wouldn't move a Monday night game up a day to a Sunday.
No. Can't.
Like, because remember, like last week, they shifted the time, they flexed the time because of, we got to make sure that there's a game on the Sunday night schedule, right? And they could say whatever else they wanted to, but it was about that.
Yeah.
Well, they got to make sure there's a game on the Monday night schedule. Like they're not going to flip flop that with another game on Sunday.
They could, but I think the decision had been made before today.
Well, today,
yeah. Like it's Friday. Like teams are flying to their places tomorrow.
Right. Well, if they're playing on Sunday, you mean?
Yeah. And they're all going to play on Sunday, so they only so if they're going to replace them, they got to do it now.
Give them a call in the morning. Hey guys, you're flying to New York today, and then it's like Home Alone. We're late. We got to go. All right. Well, with that, Ren, why don't we slide over? Let's take a look at the injury report real quick. We will remind everybody we are recording this on Friday. Because of the Monday night game, the work week is shifted up 1 day. So we only have 2 days of practice with which to talk about. But as Ren said, we can pretty much guess what the final outcome of the injury report is going to be. Looking over at the New York Giants, they had one player who did not participate today. That was Devontae Freeman, the running back, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons.
Terrible.
Out with an ankle injury. And everybody else was full participation for two people who were limited. Sterling Shepard was limited, and Darnay Holmes was limited. Other than that, everybody's full participation. So
except for Will Hernandez.
Yes, and he is not actually listed on the injury report.
He's not?
No, he's not.
He's the COVID guy.
Yeah, but he's the COVID guy, right?
Right. He's out.
Mm-hmm.
He might be their best offensive lineman.
That's good for us.
On a team that has a really shitty offensive line. They're in so much trouble.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. Not Spencer. Sterling Shepard's the only other name on here that is anywhere near recognizable to me as a guy. And like I said, he was
the only guy. Sorry. The only guy who's gonna be out for the Bucs is Chris Godwin. We knew that Tuesday.
Right. Because he broke a finger catching a touchdown pass.
Well, he broke a finger falling down after catching a touchdown pass.
Oh, is that when he broke it?
The pass itself didn't break his finger. Is when he tried to get his feet in, and then he was falling, and then when he's sort of like bracing himself, and he I don't know, he crushed it or he spiked his own finger into the ground, whatever. He just cracked the tip of his finger. I've had it happen. It sounds a lot worse than it is, to be honest.
So, but they said they're going to do some sort of surgery on it.
Yeah, they did.
And then, they did a surgery, and they're like, it's going to heal in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he could play in like the New Orleans game in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Which is just crazy to me, but okay, cool. But you're right. He'll be the only one who's out unless something happens. The only other people, just for the record, who are on our injury report is Rob Gronkowski, Scotty Miller, JPP, and Antoine Winfield with a shoulder and a groin. They were all limited, but we would anticipate all of those guys to go. If it was something more serious, they would be not participating. So that is the injury report for this week. So it looks like we're going to have a fairly healthy team going into the New York Giants. Yeah. And they're going to have a somewhat healthy team, I guess. Ren, it's time to hit that point of the show where I will ask you, what are you looking forward to this week? Monday Night Football, Buccaneers versus the Giants.
It's not going to be pretty. Like, I don't think the Buccaneers. First off, I think the Bucs sort of beating Bucs is out of their system.
Okay.
They finally got the tongue lashing they deserved after the Chicago game, and it sunk in, and they're understanding the little things that they have to do in practice for the negative things not to show up in the game, or it could be just based like ask the question, like, I don't know what the snap count is, or what is like that protection call. What is that again? Like, right. I just, for some reason, I keep getting it mixed up. Like, can you just walk me through that one more time? And they're doing great. I mean, and of course, I'm blaming the offensive line for the Chicago game. The defense, Shaq Barrett still gets some silly penalties, but it's not every week. And I think they're playing well. I think Carlton Davis is losing his unfair, well, maybe not unfair, but he's losing his refs are starting to understand that he's good, and it's not just because he's cheating, where because he started out when he was a rookie, he cheated a lot and got caught a lot for it. Then he quit cheating, but they still thought he was a cheater, so they kept throwing flags, and that happened, and that lasted for the first 4 games. I think he had a DPI the first 4 games of the year. And in the past 3 he hasn't, so that's good. I mean, the Giants can't run the ball, they can't pass, they can't protect, they can't score. Their defense is okay, but it's nothing great. They're okay. They have a really good corner. They can't rush the passer. They don't stop the run particularly well. Their linebackers are anything outstanding. They just play good team defense. And the Giants punt a lot. So, they got to make you go down the field, but they just don't have the horses to hold up, for 2 quarters, let alone 4 quarters, even 1 quarter. Like,
right.
Like the Bucs could turn the ball over 3 times this game and still win by 2 touchdowns. And if they don't, like the past 2 weeks, the Bucs defense, it took 10 points for them to sort of wake up.
Right.
Green Bay, it was 10-0. Raiders, it was 10-0. Or maybe it was 10-3.
Right.
And all of a sudden, then they just shut them down. Shut down, the Packers for the rest of the game. Raiders got 1 field goal, and then they got a touchdown somewhere in the second half. And, the Raiders were, a 30-point a game offense.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants are not. And there's no Barkley, and they don't have any receivers.
Right.
And now their best offensive lineman's done, and their left tackle they paid a bunch of money to can't stop anybody. It's going to be a drubbing.
Yeah.
It just is, And I understand if you're a little afraid and be like, oh yeah, but I thought that last year.
I thought that about the Chicago game.
Yeah, I thought about the Chicago game, but it is time again. I'm saying it again. It's time to believe in this team.
Yeah.
Time to believe in the defense. It's time to believe in the coaches on the defense. It's time to believe in the players on the defense. How many times do they have to do it? You can't run on the Bucs. Period. End of story.
Let me ask you this. Let me stop you there.
Sure.
Okay. Because you said the same thing going into the Chicago game, which was week 4. I want to say it was this year.
Were we 3 and
week?
No, we
week
weren't
3, week 4.
No, we were never 2 and 2. Had to be week 5 because we were 3 and 1 and ended up going 3 and 2. Yes.
Okay. Wherever that was, whatever week that was, here we are going into week 8.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Expected a drubbing back then. Expect a drubbing this week. I think everybody expects that. How are the Buccaneers different this week than they were 3-4 weeks ago?
I started off with that where they've learned how not to beat themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's finally gotten through. I don't know who did it. I don't know if it was BA. I don't know if it was Brady. I don't know if it was the lunch lady. I don't know if it was the guy that got COVID. I don't know if it's the guy who hands out the socks. I don't know who did it. Okay. But somebody did it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's the Bears are a very good defensive team. The Bucs still should have beat the crap out of them, but they couldn't punch it in when they got inside the red zone, which was the only game this year they've not been able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And also, it was just sort of like the Bucs are up 13-0. This was going to be a blowout. And all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, it's 14-13. It's like, what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if the Bucs, if that would have come out in halftime and you told Tom Brady and BA and you go, look, guys, you need a touchdown, an extra point, and you will win this game. That's all you need. Right. Chicago is not going to score 20. You just need to get a touchdown. Would you take that bet? I would bet anything on it.
Sure.
But, again, the second half was kind of a clunky game. And then when things did start to go their way, it just went backwards,
Mm-hmm.
And the defense didn't get a lot of 3 and outs, but they held them, they bent a little bit. They didn't break and they didn't get any turnovers. So, I mean, it's definitely not the defensive fault, but the Bears are a tier 1 defensive team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing tier 1 or maybe even tier 2 on the Giants. Like, they're just not good. They're not good. Which team's worse, the Giants or the Jets? I mean, the Bears are 5-2 for God's sakes.
That's true. That is very true.
They're not supposed to be. They shouldn't have won. They shouldn't have won
Right.
the Atlanta game.
Right.
Even less than they should have beat us.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, but they're winning on their defense.
Somehow they are. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
that's a fair comparison. The difference in defenses is really staggering between the two teams. So, I got to tell you some of the things I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to see Mike Evans this week. I want to see what kind of utilization. That was sort of the big story last week.
Yeah.
If I was
Mike's going to go off.
Yeah. Like that could have almost been the headline that didn't deserve to be a headline. Although I don't think it really ever became a headline, but I mean, that's what people were talking about all last week was Mike Evans. Where's Mike Evans? I'm getting pissed off that Mike Evans isn't getting any targets. I'm interested to see what they're going to do because even BA came out this week and said, yeah, we got to use him more. But the ball's going to find him. Like it'll get there. So I'm interested to see Mike Evans. I'm interested to see Devin White.
Gotta use them more. You know, the Bucs they score the most points on offense. They have the most points scored on offense by any team in the NFL.
I'm sorry. What I thought you said there for a second was, hey, do you know the Bucs offense scores the most points? Like I thought you meant like among the Bucs, like between the defense and the offense scores the most points. And I was like,
the offense is blowing the defense out of for touchdowns.
That's what they do. So
they're also third. They're also third in points per game with over 30.
Yeah.
And Mike Evans is no part of this offense whatsoever. None.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And AB's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should be.
There's nobody better than us. Like on paper. Like there's not. Especially in the NFC.
And the team is starting to prove it.
Especially in the NFC. Like Seattle can't stop anybody. We saw what happened against Green Bay. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens against the Saints soon. Who else is in the NFC?
Yeah. I predict, this is just my prediction, the NFC Championship game will be a rematch between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers.
You think so?
I think so. I really do. I think that's the now who goes on to win from there, that could still remain to be seen, but I do think that is what the NFC Championship game will be. Mark it down, book it. Go to mybookie.ag, place a bet on it and see if I'm right. But I'm interested to see Devin White going off this week, especially against this offense and against this defense. And with the way he's been playing, I think that's going to be a fun position to watch. The other one that I don't really want to watch is the secondary, because I feel like I'm invested in the secondary more than I ever have been before in my life, Ren. With as much as I've gone out on a limb for Jamel Dean, for the way Antoine Winfield's been playing this year, for Carlton Davis and what he's been doing, this whole question mark with SMB and this whole Mike Edwards, Jordan Whitehead thing, like I just feel very invested in this particular group, and I want to see what they're going to do this week. And then the other thing, and this is 100% absolutely the fan in me, this is the revenge game.
Oh yeah,
from last year, and I want to see us kick their ass up and down the field, and I want to see Danny Dimes, or whatever the hell they're calling him these days, go to the ground more than anyone else. And basically, he's not going to complete a pass over 2 yards, or at least he better not. I don't want to see any completed passes on that guy. I know he's going to, because it's the NFL, but no, shut him down. Absolutely shut him down. That's what I'm looking for.
Another yard.
That's right.
So we're going to the Titans. I was going to do knock their dick in the dirt, but 2 weeks, Bender. 2 weeks.
All right, Red. Time to close out the show. Paying a little homage to the Godfather of Buccaneers podcasting, predictive MVP for this game. If you guys are in the chat room, drop those in the chat. We'll shout those out here in just a moment. But Ren, who do you got? Who is going to be your MVP of the game this week? Buccaneers versus the New York Giants. I was about to say Green Bay Packers. That wasn't right.
Oh, God. I know I'm always stalling this. Is the camera on me? Is it my solo shot?
Yes.
Am I doing my thinking? It is. Oh, you did solo shoot me. Sorry. You know, you could pick anybody. You really could pick anybody. I'm
Alex Kappa.
Sure. That'd be wrong. You can pick anybody, not be right. But you can pick anybody. I think I'm going with JPP.
Ooh, interesting. Joey over in the chat room also says JPP.
Yeah, he's going up against their left tackle, who's not good.
Yeah, and you talk about a revenge game. JPP said something. I didn't put this as a headline, but it was something that came out, and everybody was talking about like he's going for their necks. I think was the exact quote.
Yeah, he's gonna do it.
Yeah. He's all about that.
I would have felt better if he didn't say it out loud.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now they're going to be looking for him, but anyway,
our friend Daniel says JPP is going to get 3 sacks. One of them will be a strip sack that Levante David is going to scoop and score on.
Devin White.
I like that. Oh, Devin White, not Levante David. Yeah. I like that. My MVP of the game is going to go to, wait for it, Mike Evans.
That's what I said last week.
Yeah, I know.
2
But
targets, 13 yards.
Here's what we know Tom Brady won't do is just because of the hype in the pub that this idea got last week.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to force it to Mike Evans
But
like a former quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would do. But
this week he can.
This week, he can, right. With Chris Godwin being out, Antonio Brown's not here yet. This could be this is a week that they're going to depend on Mike Evans quite a bit, and I think Mike Evans is going to shine this week. I really do, or at least I hope he does. Unless I have him in football, I have him in fantasy, and I need more points out of him.
Yeah. Unless Bradbury might follow him. Bradbury's their one corner. Remember him from Carolina.
Yeah,
and he was the other guy that would get in Mike's head and give him fits. Not as bad as Lattimore. Right. Mike would do a little better and have some better games against Bradbury. But Bradbury is the other guy who's giving Mike fits, and if he follows him, who's it going to be? Gronk and Scotty Miller again? Maybe a big game for Tyler Johnson
or Doink. Who knows? Maybe he'll get some targets his way. So anyway, all right, Ren. Well, that is going to do it for us. That is our Buck in the News show. See, we actually do talk about the Buccaneer news and the upcoming games and all that sort of stuff.
Take it personal. Just drop it. Don't like the show? Don't fucking listen.
Exactly. Ren, with that, we will be back Monday. I was going to say Sunday night. That's not right. Monday night after the game.
Yeah.
Clock hit 000. We hit go live for the original post-game call-in show by the fans for the fans. You guys make sure you tune in. Join us right here.
I would really like for you to be ready at 000 this week.
Okay. I'd really like for you to be ready at 000 this week.
I'm ready every week at 000. When I wasn't ready? When have you ever waited on me in 5 years for a put to start pod? Name one time. One time.
You guys join us. You guys join us after the game.
Name it.
No. You guys join us after the game on whatever day that is, Monday. Ren.
Yes.
If you'd like to discuss this further with other people, how can they get in touch with you?
Discuss what?
Who has to wait for whom for these shows or anything else that we have talked about tonight. If anybody would like to discuss, or if they'd like to talk with you about their favorite Hanna-Barbera cartoons that aren't Looney Tunes as well.
Best place to find me is on Twitter at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football, but if your take is too hot and you don't want to put it there on the Twitterverse or want to talk something else besides Bucs football, Brent, someone DM'd me about what to make dinner for their wife.
Well, you are the food guy, man.
Yeah.
You are the foodie.
I told him to go with, he wanted a simple pasta dish.
Yeah.
But I had him go with a ropa vieja.
I have no idea what that is. And neither does anyone else out there. Maybe like Phil Schwegler. He might know what that is. He's a chef. Chef Aaron might know what that is.
It's a pretty classic Spanish Cuban dish with red sauce and vegetables. I like to use peppers and onions. You can kind of put whatever you want, spice to your liking. But you take pulled beef or like take a strip steak or a roast is the best way to do it. Put the roast in the crock pot and then pull it. And then you just throw it in the red sauce, marinara probably, peppers, onions, and then you ladle it over rice. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Let's talk more about Voltron. You can slide in my DMs and we'll talk Buccaneers football or anything else there as well too.
Including menu options for the wife. You guys want to get in touch with me?
I believe that you keep falling asleep on things that haven't I proven enough the things that I talk about other people find interesting, even though you don't agree.
If you guys want to get in touch with me, you find me at Brent Allen Live across all the social medias. And the show is at the Pewtercast on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram as well. And you can email us like Christoph and a few other people this week have to thepewtercast@gmail.com or join us out there on the World Wide Web, thepewtercast.live, where you can find everything that we're doing, whether it's podcast, video, or otherwise related. It is all right there. Until next time, guys, we'll see you Sunday night. Nope. We'll see you Monday night after the game. Go Bucs.